Hi and welcome to another episode of It's Black Owned. Today you are joined by me, of course, Alison Awoyera, the founder of itsblackowned.com, and our lovely guest, Natasha Henry. Now, Natasha is the founder of the bookkeeping firm URPriority, and she's also my bookkeeper. Welcome, Natasha.
Thank you, Alison.
So good to see you.
Oh, same here.
It's actually crazy to think this is the first time we're meeting.
I know.
Like, you're all up in my business, You're all up in my business.
You know, it's funny you should say that. A couple of days ago, I was thinking about it because I've managed to get a few more clients. And I'm like, a lot of these clients, they're not even based in London. You're probably one of the few.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, for them to have that much trust in me to handle their accounts, because it's your business, it's proper, deep, full on, in. And for them to say, yeah, sign over their rights, their life, everything. Like, definitely, I trust you. I'm like, wow.
No, it's a mutual thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, we know how we've met. Actually, I'm now thinking, how did you become my bookkeeper? Can you refresh my memory?
No, it's your fault, woman. I can't tell you nothing. I think it was a case because before I started building my client base, I was looking at black business directories because I'm big on shopping with my own. Mm-hmm. So I was amassing all of these different businesses, and I eventually came across your website. And I reached out to you, and I don't know if that's what precipitated the whole thing of you saying, yes, because I wanted to be listed on your platform. That's it. And then you had to vet me. You're like, listen, I don't put any person on my platform. I need to talk to them and see what they're about. So let me get a vibe to see if I even like you.
Yeah. And do you know what it is? You're right, though. Like, when it comes to bookkeeping and accounting, it is massively, you are literally trusting someone with the innings of your business. But also, I want to make sure that if I'm going to put you on as a reputable business, as it says over there, a reputable black company, that you are doing what you say you will do, which of course you've proven to. So thank you so much.
That's all right. Thank you.
So if you were to start at the beginning of your bookkeeping journey, where is that? What inspired that for you?
So I think that takes me back to probably 2017. So that's around the time I decided to have a complete change with my life when it comes to like proper going out there, doing things on my own, experiencing life. But that also coincided with me having a thirst to visit a lot of events that feature black businesses. So I'd go to these events and I'll support the businesses that were there with their stalls and so on, and I'd also listen in on the talks. But I couldn't help but notice the black businesses in particular. So with them, you find that they were very limited. They would only take cash for payments. There was no possibility to take card.
In 2017?
Oh my God, trust me. And some of the wares were really good. Some of things that they were selling, I mean, I was more than happy to buy, but there were so many limitations.
Yeah.
If it wasn't that, I'm like, okay, do you deliver? I'm outside of London. Don't know. Here's my number. Do you have a website? Not ready for that yet. And I'm like, this is killing us. And then I went to another event, and there was a brother that he does black comic books. I don't know if you've heard of JB on Comics.
I wouldn't be surprised if anyone in the room, the filming crew, knew JB Comics. I think we got a firm yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So, yes, fabulous. So, he's on Instagram, and I love him. I bought his book straight off the bat, but I remember I met this man before he even became, I would call it an Instagram sensation, because he didn't have this much following. So, he's proper hauling ass and doing fantastic work. And I remember I met him at this event, open air event, and I went to him and I was like, I'd love to buy your book. He's like, do you have cash? I'm like, no. Do you know PayPal? It's like, I'm not really. I said, come family. So open up my phone. And I'm like, okay, this is how it works. And just so there's that trust, I want you to tell me as soon as you see the ping, because you're going to get confirmation. And it was almost like a light bulb moment, you know? So anyways, off the back of that, I'm like, this is what's killing us. It's not that we don't have really good things. It's not that we can't run a business. It's just that when it comes to certain logistical things, it's the last thing that we consider. And that's what pretty much determines whether or not you go big or you go bust.
Yeah.
So within all of that, I also picked up that finance was an issue. Now, somewhere along the line, I was like, I need to upskill, because I'm in a 9-to-5, but this is not the type of thing you can stay in to build generational wealth. I want my own business.
Yes.
Because when my son grows big, I want him to be his own entrepreneur, at least take charge of his life. But I can't tell him to do it if he can't see what it looks like.
Absolutely.
And plus, I was tired for working for these people. So, with all of that was happening, I said, okay, My people need help with finance. There's a lot of people out there that are cowboys. They're saying they can do your books, but they're charging you an arm and a leg, and that's no guarantee they're even giving you quality services.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, we're not rolling in money, but we do need the help. So I decided to upskill, and I did it while I was pregnant. So during that time, I was on maternity leave.
I'm so proud of you, sorry, because I know it's not easy.
It was not. It was not. So I was hauling ass. Didn't manage to finish before I gave birth to my son, but after gave birth to him and I settled in a routine, I picked it right back up. And I was like, I need to finish this. And by the time I finished it, my maternity leave was over and I had to be back at work.
Yeah.
But before I went into work, I managed, because I'd finished it, I incorporated my company. And once I was back at work, I was doing my 9 to 5 in the day and the bookkeeping at nights.
Just fantastic.
And that's how I came across beautiful clients like yourself.
Oh, bless you. No, that is a fantastic story. You know, as you were telling the story of meeting the gentleman who didn't have, you know, the PayPal or whatever set up, it just reminded me of going to that one Caribbean shop. We all know that Caribbean shop you walk into. Oh, you know, you might even start to be polite and just say, oh, is there anything you haven't got? And then they might even forget that they actually haven't got the thing you're asking for when I have that.
Yes.
And they didn't have the means for you to pay digitally. So, honestly, for me, you have been... I mean, stepping into business is completely different from working as an employee. And when people glamorize this business life, I just look at them and laugh because it's not easy.
No.
You don't get your holiday paid.
No.
You don't get your sick days paid. If you decide to step into this space full time, there's obviously many challenges. But one of them, like you said, is understanding finance, how it works, even things down to, at the moment, well, we might be coming out of lockdown, we might not, but the working from home allowance that you put me onto.
Yeah.
Now, to you, it's obviously common knowledge. But how many people do you think are running businesses that they don't know these things that are there to support business?
That's right. And it's not only that. There is this problem where running a business is so time consuming, especially if you're doing a very good job at it. So that it's so time consuming to the point that when you do find an accountant and bookkeeper, it's almost like, okay, you're dealing with my finance, I'm relegating that to you. I don't want to know nothing about it until my tax return. And even then, just some superficial level knowledge, just let me know it's been submitted, I'm not fined, I don't have any taxes due, and that's enough for me. And it's a big learning curve when I tell people that's not enough. You'll be surprised. Out of all the clients I've acquired so far, at least half of them I've acquired because of me having to do some remedial work, in the sense that they had these accountants that were like, okay, I'm doing your books, and before they knew it, they didn't know if their accounts were submitted or not, how much money they were even making, how much taxes were due, nothing. And then obviously that communication wasn't even there. So they're literally going by on a prayer. And I'm like, you can't do this. Because when it comes to even HMRC, when you submit your tax return, there are responsibilities that directors and any business owner has.
Yeah.
And if they should come across an error, if they should decide they want to audit your accounts, if they should decide to do anything, like go through your books, it's not going to be enough to say, I didn't know about that, or my accountant was doing it, or my bookkeeper didn't.
You can't blame
me.
anybody, you can't pass the buck.
Because your responsibilities are already there. You need to know what figures you put down. You need to know what business, what kind of income you're pulling in. And even if HMRC wasn't putting you in that position that you had to accept that as your responsibility, why wouldn't you want to know how well your business is doing?
Yeah, if you care enough.
Exactly. You need to scale. And then you're at their mercy. So if you decide you want to leave and go to someone else, what's the first thing I'm going to ask you if you come to me, for instance? When was your last tax return? I need to see it. What's your login details? So HMRC and companies ask.
Yeah, it's just not going to work.
I need, me or anyone else, we're going to need a minimum level of information from you. So you need to have some responsibility. And I've had clients where it's like pulling teeth. I'm like...
Really?
Yeah, because a lot of the times when they decide to get rid of their previous accountants or bookkeepers, the relationship has broken down so significantly that there's no way of reaching out. So if they should say, okay, I need this information from you, these people aren't responding.
Oh, no.
So they have to go straight back to the drawing board. And that's on top of having to contend with daily operational activities on the business front. And you're like... You need to have had this from the beginning. And this is painful.
It matters to have someone who's going to be diligent.
That's right. And hold anyone you pay, hold them to account. I don't care if you're paying them pennies. They've agreed once they took on that work that they're going to give you a certain caliber of service. Hold them accountable.
That's it.
what are my figures looking like? I don't understand this. I don't care if you think they think you're a fool. You're paying them.
Yeah.
Ask them, what does this mean?
Yeah.
What does this mean? What's the implications? You know?
Yeah.
So in a way, it's not enough. And some people say, oh, I have dyspraxia, so it's hard for me to understand numbers. We can work around that.
This what, sorry?
Dyspraxia.
Oh, dyspraxia. Okay,
So
that might be what I have, because
of-
me and numbers, we're not friends. Give me all the words, the colours, the pictures, but yeah.
Oh, but establish that from the beginning, but let them know, regardless of what challenges I have, ultimately I want to understand what is happening, you know? And it's your right. It's your business. It's your bread and butter, you know? So... there's a lot we need to learn, but we're getting there.
We are getting there. And like, obviously we've got people like you that are helping us. And I think one thing you always do really well is just make things, you explain it in layman terms. Don't get me wrong, there's some things I still don't understand, like VA tax, VAT, this, that, all this stuff, right? But you will do your best to just explain it in very simple terms, which is what we need. Now, what would you say for people who are insistent on wanting to do their accounts themselves? What would you say are the benefits of having a bookkeeper or accountant?
I mean, if you want to do the accounts yourself, I will fully support that. Because like I said, when I started this business, it wasn't about making money off the back of someone at all costs. I knew the businesses I was trying to appeal to. And these businesses, bless them if they bring in 10K a year.
Yeah.
So if you're in a position, it's better for me to say, if you want to do your books, I will give you the tools so you can help yourself until you can afford my services. Because it makes no sense to force you to commit to a payment plan or commit to a certain budget, which ultimately your business won't help you to sustain. It's going to be difficult for you. It's going to be bad for me. Ultimately, you're going to be a client for a short term and eventually you're going to default on payments. So a lot of it has to do with recognizing limitations and just being honest with the circumstances. So I've had clients say like, listen, I know you're good. I've seen your reviews. I want you to help me, but I can't afford you. I can't afford you, or I can help myself to a certain point. So how much can you take off of this bill?
Okay.
I will meet you halfway. If it's a case where it's like the amount that you're looking to reduce it by, I'll be like, okay, these are the tools you can use. I'll guide you up to a point, and this is what you need to do. And then when you get to a certain point, reach out to me.
Right.
And then as you start to scale and you see steady income and you know you can afford my services, we can take it from there. But it's a steady build. And it's in my interest that whichever clients I have, they succeed. Because if they do, I do as well.
Yeah, of course.
You know, so if you want to do your own books, absolutely. If you want your help, absolutely. It can work either way. The most I will say is that it's easier for those that are self-employed to do the books on their own, because there's not such a massive requirement when it comes to preparing your expenses and income.
Right.
It's
so do you mean like a sole trader when you say self-employed? Right,
That's
of course.
Right. So really all you have to do is to have a really good system in place to track your expenditure and your income. And if you have an idea of what the form means when you're submitting things online, you can pretty much get away with submitting your own accounts with no problem. When you're running a limited company, though...
No, I think it's a different ball game.
That's a different ball game. You have accounting policies you have to adhere to. You have Companies House Act that you have to bear in mind. There are certain provisions. You have to submit your accounts in a certain way. And some of this way requires you to do it in a statutory manner.
Yeah.
So it's not as if you can... work around it and say, okay, I'm just going to dash this in and put now.
Yeah.
There's a certain way you have to do it.
I can relate to that. I mean, as a copywriter before, I'd done some odd bits of work as a sole trader. Pretty easy. You make sure you file by 31st. Sometimes it was literally on the day, which is terrible. I know you don't approve of that, do you? No, you always say be prepared. But, we're in a generation now, especially in a Black-owned space where lots of people are aspiring to be business owners. And you see sometimes, especially on Twitter, people with photographs of all of their orders. So for me, if you're trying to build this business and fulfill your orders, outsource the accountants, outsource the bookkeeping from early to just... If I didn't have you on board... I don't know how I would. I struggle.
You would survive.
I would. Okay, look, the business ain't doing millions, but do you know what? I'm not in love with numbers like that. I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
I want to outsource. That's the one thing I make sure I outsource. And so for me, I know Natasha's going to be, polite and coy, but I'm going to say, no, if you can outsource, do it, and do it from early.
Yeah.
Because that way it's like, I know that's to be expected from whatever comes in.
Yeah.
This needs to come out. And also I find that you save me money. You save the business money. You make it tax efficient, I would say. Is that the way to...
Oh, bless you. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And also, I mean, accountancy and bookkeeping fees are also a business expense.
That's it.
So
that's it.
Yeah, if you're looking to reduce your tax bill, that's an additional expense you can put against your profit. So definitely, it really boils down to the person's circumstance. I was speaking to a sister today, and she was seeking help to do a sort of business plan. So it has an element of costing and budgeting and forecasting and so on. And she was speaking to some colleagues that have entered into the same line of business that she's looking to start. And she's like, they're saying, oh, you'll have to use this accountant. I don't know if she managed to get as far as to speak with them, but either way, the person was telling her, you need to pay me X amount up front. And I'm like, that's for full-on support. Listen to the client. She just wants a sort of business plan that has the costings and financials to do what she needs to in the way of putting through an application to start her business.
Yeah.
Why are you going to slap her with a massive bill, which pretty much... It's like...
You got to tailor it almost
you have
to your client.
It.
Yeah.
And it's horrible, but in many trades and industries, accountancy and bookkeeping is no different. You have people that are just about the money.
Yeah.
And clearly there's an element of you have to bear in mind the economics of it. I have to survive, you have to survive, but at what cost?
Yeah. Integrity is a massive part of it. Yeah.
So I tell you, and I've heard some horror stories. Some people have called me and they're literally at the brink of tears. They're like, I don't know what happened here. My accountant is not picking up her phone, and HMRC is auditing my account and they're threatening me. And I'm like, this woman can't do that. What do you mean she's not picking up your phone? And I've literally told them what they can do, almost like, and I think to myself, but Tasha, if they decide to use the same tactics on you, you're dead,
That's true. That's very true.
Because I say to them, listen, you can report them to their professional body. And I'm thinking, they're gonna... Can you imagine somebody reporting me to them?
It's not going to happen.
But it's like, it goes back to people not only knowing the business, but knowing who they're dealing with to support with the business. If you're going to deal with someone, you're going to have to firstly understand very clearly what your relationship is and what the exchange is going to be like.
Yeah.
And then also, if things go left, what sort of recourse you can go through. A lot of my clients, they don't even know that you can check your accountants and bookkeepers. And as a minimum, you should do that to safeguard yourself.
Well, I'm pretty sure you put that in the introductory email. When you sign on, you do.
Yeah.
But maybe not all of them do that.
No. And it's like, it's not enough to just do the bare minimum and go on a prayer. I mean, this literally... Businesses that go bust is many times the difference between you going hungry today or tomorrow, because sometimes that's the only income you're bringing in. So why wouldn't you be on this like your life depended on it? Vet everyone. Even if you have me, don't trust me, even question me.
Of course.
It's your right, it's your business. And if you have that approach across the board, you can't lose.
Yeah.
Because in business, you need that approach anyways.
No, it's true.
You need to be shrewd.
Yeah, you do. You do.
So if you're going to practice on me, so be it. Take it into the business life later on as well.
If you could think of any misconceptions that you think people have about business when it comes to bookkeeping or accounting, I guess we should start with the difference between the two, because not everyone knows the difference between the two, and then misconceptions. Okay,
so... in the past, what has happened is that bookkeepers were like the equivalent of administrators in the finance world. So we were the ones that did the drudgery when it came to the tedious, painstaking task of pulling together your financials, working through your bank statements, reconciling everything, and pretty much presenting it in a format that was cohesive, accurate, and in keeping with your bank records and everything. That's what we did. And as you can appreciate, when you work through your bank transactions, if you look at even your personal bank statements, I mean the lines and lines and lines and lines. Yeah. So this is pretty much what we did. Before software was introduced to the extent that it's helping us now, we would have to pick through all of that, pull it together, and then we would hand it over to the accountants.
Okay.
Then the accountants would do more the strategic sort of approach. So when you look at costing and budgeting, management accounts, forecasting, looking at how you can scale the business, what implications that has on your finances, what your income needs to look like if you want to do certain things. That was pretty much the sole reserve of accountants. And obviously there are areas within that they specialize in. So you have some that have branched off into being like tax advisors, tax experts. What has happened now is that the line is increasingly being blurred between bookkeepers and accountants. So I would like to think in my case, if there's a difference, it's fundamentally in the name of the qualification. I can do a lot of there are quite a few things that accountants do that I can do. And then obviously the bookkeeping is the fundamentals, which I can do hands off. Yeah. So if it comes to pulling your accounts together and reconciling the transactions, fine. If it comes to costing and budgeting, fine. If it comes to analyzing your financial statements, fine. So there's a mix there that I can do. And that's partly because when I qualified, I didn't just do the basic qualification. I made sure I was qualified to an advanced level.
Of course.
Plus, I have a background in data analysis. So that's what I did in my 9 to 5 before.
Okay.
So for other bookkeepers, I can't speak for them because some they just qualify. They get enough knowledge to just pull your accounts together. And then your accountants will be the one that has to do your tax return. In my case, I can pretty much do the full Monty. So I guess that's as much as I can say. But what was the other question?
The other question was the biggest misconceptions people might have maybe going into business from your end of things, what you might see.
Yeah, everybody wants to go into business to be a big boy. It's like...
Until you're crying because you're like, I can't do this.
Oh my gosh. I tell you, it's like everybody sees the glitz and the glam of it. And it doesn't help. You look at the television, you see a
social media as well.
Social media, people are flossing. Oh, I earned 30,000, 20,000, and nobody's giving you the full picture as to the sleepless nights that person puts in, if any at all, or
the help that they might have had,
the help they could have had, or the difficult clients they had to deal with, or the amount of taxes they probably have to pay. They don't, or the financial planning that went into that. A lot of people, they go into business and they have an idea and they just hope and pray that everything else will fall in line. You can't. Especially if you're looking at generational wealth and building something to create a legacy. You can't just get up one day, say you're starting a business and then hope for the best. Yeah. It doesn't work like that. So many times, and the devil is in the details. You start a business and it's like, oh, I can't be bothered with admin. No, that's part and parcel of it. That's the unsexy part of it. Yeah. You have to do it.
100%.
You have to have that receipt to prove that this transaction happened. You have to have this invoice that's prepared to show that this is how much needs to be paid. You have to have this payslip generated to prove that this is what was paid to your staff and this is the amount of taxes that you need to hand over to HMRC. You have to have so many things in place, and this doesn't even touch on legal documents if you're looking to do mergers. Yeah. Or it doesn't even, this is just scratching the surface. But you have to cover yourself, and nobody appreciates how important it is until they follow up with their accountant and all of a sudden they need all of these things to log into their account. Or they're embroiled in this lawsuit and all of a sudden this paperwork that was just tedious to prepare and have stored, all of a sudden that's the make or break for your lawsuit. Yeah, no. So it's like you pay attention to the small details and you make sure you stay on top of it. And forget the whole proving and showing yourself to have made it. Businesses take a while to grow and to succeed. So I find it strange when someone just started a business last year and all of a sudden they're a big boy. I'm like, listen.
Six figures is the new thing I see on Twitter a lot. This is making 6 figures. Okay. I mean, I'm happy for anyone making that much, but I can only imagine.
But they said if you get it quickly, you lose it just as quickly.
I know, right?
That there's something about that's unsustainable or just isn't right. You don't, anything that lasts the test of time is built slowly. You can't accumulate and amass wealth to that level at such speed. You wouldn't have learned enough to be able to keep it.
Definitely.
You know? So if you get all of this, you're going to lose it just as quickly. Yeah. So a lot of people are going into business because at the end of the day, they want to prove to their friends that they made it. They want to show their family they're doing well. And
or they don't want to work for someone else. And sometimes you have to work from someone else to get the ground, you know? And
it's funny. My sister looked at me and she's like, Tasha keeps saying, because for years, I was like, I want my own business. She's like, oh, you're coming like a scratch record, broken record. I said, listen, I'm tired of giving away my skills and talents to someone else and building their future and securing their future generations. I have my son.
Yeah, it's different.
That's right.
It hits different.
So if I'm gonna set someone up for life, it's gonna be my bloodline. It's no longer acceptable for me to give away my blood, sweat and tears. And then that's not even factoring the people that you have to be working for that take the piss.
Yeah, you give me shivers, you know. You've literally given me shivers. It's so true. It's so true.
I've been thinking about it. So I'm like, I want to work for myself. And my sister was like, but you do know when you work for yourself, your clients are going to be the people you report to. I said, yes. The difference is I can pick and choose.
Yeah.
It's not every money that comes my way I actually accept.
Yeah.
Because the same way that you vetted me and you got a vibe and you're like, I like you.
Yeah.
I vet my clients as well. If in the first 5 minutes of speech and I hear that you ain't right, I'm like, peace be the journey.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not going to tell you.
Of course,
you know, but I'm going to be like, I think someone else would be best suited for you.
Yeah.
Because some money, the headache that comes with it, like it's not worth it. You know, but going back to the whole thing about picking and choosing, I mean, I can pick and choose. I can pick and choose my hours.
Yeah.
I can pick and choose who I work with. I can pick and choose if I want to scale up or downsize. I can pick and choose how I want to do my thing. And the most important thing for me was spending time with my son.
Absolutely.
You know, so when I was working my 9 to 5, it's almost like I had to beg my manager. I need time with him. And you feel guilty even. I'm like, if I'm running my business, if I decide that I want to spend a whole month with my son doing nothing,
yes,
I can do it without having to ask permission.
Especially while they're young.
Exactly. I'm big on homeschooling. So that's priority for me. I homeschool my son, you know?
Amazing.
So I have to find a schedule that works for me and one that I can chop and change as and when. I can't do that with a 9 to 5.
Sorry, I'm laughing because the other day I was on the phone to Natasha. I had to deal with my daughter. She's 2.5 and I said, sit down. And you just started laughing, didn't you? That's my homeschooling, giving it to her yard style.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you're so right with everything that you say.
It's the level of freedom. And I mean, the beauty about the climate that we're in now is that you can work anywhere. So if I decide I want to go back to Jamaica, I can go back, spend as long as I want and still work. Because all I need is a good internet connection on my laptop.
That's it.
Can you imagine me telling me, and mark you in 9 to 5s, you bless your heart, you're going to have, 4 weeks vacation for the year?
Yeah, it's just.
And then if you stay there for 50 years, you probably get an extra 2. So
yeah, honestly. When you think of it like that.
It's ridiculous. And I'm like, everything I'm having to ask and beg. My son should understand that when he's living a life, it should be a life that is limitless. The world is your oyster. So for me to tell him that's possible, I have to show him it's possible.
Yeah.
And I tell you, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. Every time I see that I'm able to do my thing and free flow.
Yeah.
You know? It's like I can practice what I preach.
Yeah.
So you see, because you know kids, they follow what you do rather than what you say.
Oh my gosh.
You know? So.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
I'm so happy for you, honestly. And it's
I'm
such an
happy
inspiring...
for you. You're doing well as well.
Yeah, thank you. But it is an inspiring story, and it's just when you see it reflected. I mean, I remember when we were both employed doing this. Like you said, you were doing it in the evenings, sometimes the weekends. And just to know that this is possible is just a wonderful thing. So I just hope that we're inspiring anyone who's watching this right now, of course. And just lastly, how can anyone find you if they want to make sure they can... Obviously, hang on. Actually, no. You can go on itsblackowned.com /URPriority, and you will definitely see a full breakdown in the interview with Natasha. But of course, please plug away your socials, your site.
So my website is urpriority.co.uk. So you can reach me on that. I have a page specifically that you can contact me on. I'm on Instagram as well, so my handle is URPriority_limited. And your website I'm listed as well. And I mean, if you do Google the company, you'll see other places where I'm listed. So that's really it. URPriority Limited.
And it's so Umbrella Romeo Priority spelled out.
That's right.
Thank you so much for joining me, and thank you for being my bookkeeper, because I might cause you more headache. But thank you. Thank you. And that's it. Thank you for joining us for another episode. You can catch It's Black Owned over at www.itsblackowned.com, where you will find a list of premium black owned business. Until next time.